Hello, hello, hello. If you're just joining in, it is round 9 of the ESRL Championship. I'm here for commentary once again. And we're just about to get going, I believe. Hello, hello, if you're just joining the stream, we're about to get underway, everyone's pressing ready. Hello Amir, hello Lifebout. Good luck to you both for today. And Rick as well, good luck to you as well. I know Lifebout is going to be racing in Division 2, so good luck to him for that. But we're going to be here in Imola today, which is a tough track at the best of times, and with elite assists even tougher, so this could be quite an interesting one. And here we are, so let's enable all of my telemetry, and there we go. Right, so 19 car grid today, should be great, a great spectacle as always with ESRL. We've got a lot of people. I'm just going to go ahead and mute that other person who's just joined the party I'm in. I am in a party just to stop my game from crashing. Because that is a thing, for some reason. Don't ask me why, but it seems to work, so I'm going with it. Vans Racing is first out on track in the Haas. He's had a bit of a turbulent season, has Vans so far. I'm just gonna get the standings up on my screen. The newly designed standings, the new little layout on them, they're very nice looking, so well done to Scott on those. But yeah, it's the bottom 3 get relegated in ESRL. We do have 2 divisions, and bottom 3 get relegated, top 3 in Division 2 get promoted to Division 1. And currently Vans is sitting 14th, so he's safe. I think he's pretty safe from relegation. He's not entirely safe, but I think he'll survive personally. I know Donev and Sertak will rise up the rankings very quickly, I'm sure, but Vans, I mean, I don't think he'll drop below Zuba, and that's really all. Zuba and Wumax, and he just needs to beat those 2 and he'll survive. And I think he'll do that. He's pretty consistent with finishing races, even if it's not high up the grid. But here we go. Well, he's going to take us on a lap of Imola. So on this deceptively long straight, the closing speed here with DRS can be absolutely insane in the race. But brake at just after the 100-meter board, and very conservative there through turns 1 and 2 for Vans. sure we'll see people commit much more to those corners. And now turns 3 and 4 again, really conservative from Vans. Just wants to get a banker lap out. I'm sure he'll push a bit more later on in the session. Through the hairpin and towards this very fast left-hander, which you have to really commit to. And not do that, which is what Vans has done, go very wide. It's very easy to do. Through Aqua Minerale, very, very hard corner to get right, as Vans shows, going very deep, and he's going to be gutted that I've decided to ride on board with him for this lap, because it is not the best lap from Vans. He comes through the chicane now. It's up towards the final few corners. Double left-hander to end off the lap. Again, you've got to really commit through here, and misses the apex from Vans. It's not a good lap from the Irishman to start off, but I'm sure he can improve. In fact, he's into the pits. He is not happy with that at all. So we'll go on board with... who is on a lap? I think Robinet is going to be next across the line. Yeah, here he comes. So the Frenchman, he's had a few podiums already this season, and he sets the initial pace with a 17.8. I think that's Ayrton DTS comes across the line 8/10 faster, 17.0, much better from the Haas. I'm sure Robinet can improve on that by quite some margin. Ayrton is on a lap, as is Nath Clark, the two championship protagonists, 2 points between them, as Myra now sets the fastest lap at 16.6. Let me take a look at my telemetry. Who is fast? It's the Alpine of, I believe, Donev is purple through Sector 1. So right on board with him as he comes into the last few corners now. Just about avoids invalidating. Very close to the limit there from the Alpine driver. And that is more like it. A 15.5 from Donev. That is a fantastic opening lap from the Alpine, and even the likes of Ayrton and Nath Clark will have trouble beating that, I think. The toe into P3, just slotting behind Myra. Zuber, Scott as well have both done laps. They're very close to each other, but Scott wins out that little battle. Ayrton coming through the final chicane. Well, it is the final chicane. Trugs has left the session. Hopefully he can get back in into the session. How close is Ayrton going to be to that lap from Donev? The Ferrari driver, very used to being on pole position in ESRL. I think he's going to lose out for now. Yes, he is. A 15.9, 4/10 away from Donev's lap time. And Nath Clark 6/10 back. So the two championship protagonists, second and third, but a long distance in terms of lap time between them. I'm sure Nath Clark can improve, but he tends to be more pacey in the race. So we'll keep an eye on him. Avi has also been having a fantastic season in the Mercedes, but he's bailed on that lap, not happy with it. Yeah, Avi currently sitting P3 in the championship. He's a long way behind Nath Clark and Ayrton, but so is everyone. He is well and truly best of the race at the best of the rest at the moment. Is that Ezra in the chat? Hello, Ezra. Welcome to the F1 stream. Yeah, I commentate for this league every week, and I also race on Twitch several times a week if you're interested in that. On a break week at the moment, but next week I'll be back on it. So just a shameless plug there. I'm sure Scott won't mind. Surtak in the Williams, another newbie to Division 1. Going through Sector 2. What was the Sector 1 like? It was a 24.7, so quite off the pace actually for Surtak. We saw him quite pacey last week in his first race in Division 1. He was very much on the pace and trying to even challenge the likes of Donev and Ayrton, but today seems a little way off. 26.2 second sector, that's a little better, but again, not what I expected from Surtak for his opening lap. Comes across the line, 16.4. He does go P3, so it is still a really good lap, but it's quite a way off the top two. I think I was caught out by the fact that Womax was on a really good lap as well, and their times were fairly similar, but obviously Surtak absolutely destroyed Womax in the final sector. There was barely well, there was not even a tenth between them in the first two sectors, and then Surtak 4/10 faster in the final sector, which is surprising. Although maybe not so surprising, actually, because the third sector does comprise that very tricky chicane, which can gain you a huge amount of time if you get it right. Van's on a lap as well, looking to improve on his previous effort, which was not a lap he could be proud of. We rode on board with it, and I'm sure he'll be disappointed that we rode on board with that particular lap. He does go P17, 5/10 behind Zuba, in fact, so he's going to have to really bring out an improvement there. Lostock has bailed on his lap. Avi is on an out lap. Is anyone going quicker? Nath Clark is in the pits. Amir is on an out lap, so... Oh, Robinay, he is much quicker in Sector 1, 2.5 tenths better in the first sector. What about the second? Now 5 tenths up on his previous best, so Robinay looking to charge his way up the grid with a much better lap here. I did think that his first lap was very uncharacteristically off the pace, and his teammate as well, Speed Alcoholic, really uncharacteristically off the pace. They're both sitting in P13 and 14 respectively, so I'm sure they can both massively improve, and indeed Robinay does a 16.8, which puts him into P7. That's much better from the AlphaTauri driver. Speed Alcoholic on an outlap as well. I'll keep an eye on him, because I'm sure he can do a lot better. Ayrton DTS also faster in Sector 2, but had a pretty poor Sector 1, according to my telemetry, so... round the final few corners he comes, looking to improve after a lackluster Sector 1. And he does improve to P8, but I know that he can go 2 tenths faster than that. So he could be trying to look at a second row start. That would be quite the result for Ayrton DTS, who's been very off the pace. Well, not off the pace, but he's been very unlucky in races this season. He's been pretty much mid-grid in terms of pace every week, but he's currently sitting 15th in the championship standings. It doesn't really reflect how good he is for pace, so I think his race form needs some improving, as Donev, a 15.1. That has absolutely blown everyone out of the water. As Nath Clark's retired from the session, where is that? It looks like it's... Where is that? I can't see his car, so I don't know. He's left the session, in fact. I don't know what's happened there. So the championship leader retires from qualifying. He won't be improving, and I think he's going to plummet down the order here, because everyone else is going to be improving, I'm sure, and there's not much time between him and even 10th place. He could plummet down the order if he even manages to get back in the session here. Myra coming to the line much faster in the second sector, 4.5 tenths improvement. Here comes Myra into P2, beats Ayrton, in fact, as Surtak has been disqualified for going the wrong way and will drop all the way to the back. That's really unlucky. I think that is a beached car. I think that's the problem. So that's really, really unlucky for Surtak. Very undeserved. But that will mean he starts at the back of the grid. The toe into P5 knocks Nath Clark down another position. Amir, the Season 1 champion, into P4 as well. Is anyone improving? Yes, Speed Alcoholic massively improving. 1.5 seconds faster than his previous best. This could see him up into the top 3 around the final few corners. An inch away from invalidating there at that second to last corner. DRS open across the line. It's a 15.8. He goes into P2. Much better from the South African. That's much more like what I expect from this man. Very, very impressive pace he has usually, so much better from him. Myra is down, I think is on an in-lap anyway. What about Ayrton? Nearly a tenth slower in the first sector than his previous best, so Ayrton not on sort of pole challenger status at the moment, as he usually is, and in fact he's bailed on that lap, so he is going to have to go again with 6 minutes to go in this session. Is Wumex improving? No. Is anyone improving, really? Can't see anyone improving. Avi is on a lap, so we'll go to Avi. Here we go, to the line. Where is Avi going to come out? Oh, Avi's on an out lap, okay. So here comes Avi's lap. Nath Clark is out the session. Who's that? Womack's 1.5 tenths up in the first sector, so keep an eye on that Aston Martin. But I will keep on board with Avi because he is yet to set a lap. The man sitting third in the championship. He could be one to watch to qualify a lot better today. He has been really good in qualifying this season, actually, Avi. Consistently out-qualifying his champion teammate, Amir. So it's been really impressive from Avi on this new F122 game this year. Through Sector 2 he comes. It's a 50.6. That is not too bad at all from the Mercedes. 24.4, 26.1 through the first two sectors, and now coming up to the line, Vans is improving but nowhere near enough, and in fact just does improve. It must have been the third sector where he had trouble, and he improves to 15th. Ahead of Scott and Zuber as Avi now comes up towards the line. What's it going to be for the Mercedes? It's a 16.1, an impressive lap again, out-qualifies his teammate, and the toe just behind him also out-qualifies Amir into P6. So Avi, P5. Ayrton does improve the championship second place at the moment, but nowhere near that lap time of Donev, 4 tenths off. So Ayrton not in his usual spot today at the moment. He is being outclassed by this new driver, Donev. So we could have a new race leader on our hands today. The toe going into the gravel there. Rick has left the session. Hopefully he can get back in. As Womack's into the pits. Is anyone improving? Rick was improving before we left this session, and in fact he's in the pits now. Robinet is also in the pits. Ayrton DTS not improving unless he's gained a lot of time in this final sector. What's it going to be? And he did gain a lot of time in the final sector actually. And up to P10 he goes. Game crashed, says Rick. Hopefully you can get back in, mate. If you need an invite, let me know. I'll send you one. Thibaut in the Red Bull, P14. He's reserving today. For who's the other Red Bull driver? Memory fails me. It is Trugstar. So Thibaut hoping to do well on his reserve day today. And Zuber, in fact, beats Vans back again by 8 tenths. So Vans really not enjoying this Imola circuit at the moment. Sitting P17, and he really needs a good result today if he wants to, well, over the rest of the season, if he wants to secure his spot in Division 1 for next season. Everyone coming out the pits now to set their final runs. 2.5 minutes left in the session. Ayrton into the pits and massively speeds as he comes in, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to set another lap. There's 2 minutes 20 left. And this pit lane is very, very long, and that Ferrari pit crew are going to get him back in as quickly as they can, but I don't think he has enough time to set another lap. Donev has sitting if I could speak it would be great. Donev is also sitting in the pits. I don't think he's coming out. No, he's not. So Donev happy with his lap time. He is confident in his pole position today. Myra just about to start a lap, I believe. Rick, who's that improving? That is Lostock improving quite a lot. The Aston Martin 3.5 tenths up. It's could be enough to beat Zuber, but Lostock, again, uncharacteristically off the pace. And there we go, into P12 he goes. That's a bit better from him, but usually we see him sort of in the top 10 at least. So Lostock not enjoying this track at the moment. Rick is back in, which is great to see. But not enough time to set another lap, unfortunately, for him. So he will stay P14 at best. As Robinet coming across the line now. Is he improving through Sector 3? No. That is a lie. I think he was still on an out lap and the game was lying to me. Because that does happen. Speed Alcoholic is on a lap. I'm looking at Myra because Myra is improving through sectors 1 and 2. Just around half a tenth up. It's not enough as it stands to go into the top 3. Speed about to start a lap. But here comes Myra now. I have the telemetry. Oh no, Myra's gone deep into the final corner and just a wheel on the gravel, and that is that lap over. So Myra will be P4 at best today. Speed just starting a lap, as Trugster has said. In the AlphaTauri, Zuba's been disqualified. The second one today. Was he also beached? Perhaps. I think he is also beached. No, he's not also beached, so I don't know what's happened there. Just been very unlucky. We've got another spinner. Is that Scott? Yes, it is, in the McLaren. It's all happening today. Dunev is out on a lap, actually, so again, the game lied to me. And Ayrton is just about to come across the line. 0 seconds. He didn't quite get there in time. It was 1 second was the margin, quite literally. And Ayrton will not improve. What about speed? Is he improving? Not really. He's about similar time through sectors 1 and 2. He's going to need a mighty final sector to get onto the front row here as he goes a bit deep. Oh my word, I don't know how he didn't invalidate that lap. Round the final corner now to the line. He's not going to get pole. And he's not going to get P2 either. He does improve a purple final sector, in fact, from speed, but not enough to get himself on the front row. Avi also coming up to the line. Does improve to P4. Beats Myra into the top 4. And his great run of qualifying form continues. What about his teammate Amir? Amir is way down on his previous lap. Yeah, really messed up sector 2. Nath Clark has dropped all the way to 8th. It could be 9th because Womax is improving as well in the Aston Martin. Up to the line comes the Bulgarian. And he stays P10. He just lost all his time in the final sector, unfortunately for him. Aces versus Kings not improving either. What about Thibaut? He's spun or going slowly. One of the two. And Van's also going slowly. He's off into the grass, so no one else will be improving. And that is your qualifying standings. Dunev, pole position by a significant margin over NER Ayrton, and Nath Clark, the championship leader, will start all the way down in P8. Is he even back in the session? I wonder. I don't actually know if he's back in the session. Ah, he says he's going to have to dip. Internet's about to go down. No, it's a disaster. That is the championship leader unable to race today due to his internet. And that as pretty much, as long as Ayrton finishes this race in a podium position, which I'm sure he's capable of doing, although it is Imola, you never know. But he will take a commanding lead in this Drivers' Championship with 3 races to go. And I think with a lead of more than sort of 10 points at this margin, I struggle to see him not winning this championship now. That is a crushing blow to Nath Clark's championship hopes. Really unfortunate for him, but there is your grid. It is Dunev on pole position, takes his first pole of the season, with Ayrton just beside him on the front row, but a long way back in terms of time. So it'd be interesting to see if Dunev can pull away from the reigning champion. Speed in P3, with Avi joining him on the second row. Another good qualifying from him. Myra in P5 with Duteau, a good qualifying as well, P6. Amir, Season 1 champion, down in P7. Nath Clark P8, but he is not going to start the race, of course. Robin A P9, Womax P10, and then Ayrton's ETS, Aces versus Kings, Lostock, Rick, Thibaut, Vans, Scott make out the rest of the grid, with Surtak and Zuba both being disqualified in unfortunate circumstances, so they will make up the back of the grid. And Surtak is going to be a driver to watch to see how quickly he can make his way up the grid. Nath Clark is actually going to be a liability here, his car is, because he is going to be controlled by an AI, of course. But there's no ghosting in ESRL, so it's not like the other drivers can just drive straight through him because he's an AI. So they will have to take caution at the start, especially the driver that's right behind him on the grid. But no formation lap for ESRL, so we are going to get straight into the racing as soon as everyone has chosen their strategy. and readied up. So we wait a little bit for everyone to get ready for the race. Give me your predictions in chat if you have any. Ezra, if you're still here, I know you're not going to know anything about any of the drivers, but my prediction, I'm going to say Deneuve for the win, Ayrton P2, and Myra P3. That's what I'm going to go with. Ayrton win. Gotta go have my race now. Okay. Good luck, Lifebelt. Me, myself, and I. We'll see if that actually happens, Rick. You never know. Could spawn 2 clones at the race start. Take over Nath Clark's car and win with that one as well. I'm about to get underway though. Here we go. 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And we're underway for the Imola Grand Prix. It's Deneuve with a terrible start from P1. Ayrton into P1 already with speed. Already into P2 as well. Deneuve really struggling off the start. He's going to try and brake hard into turn 1, but he doesn't and has to give way. And he started on the hard tyres, which would explain everything. He hasn't. I mean, this didn't work for him last week, but he's done it again. He started on the hard tyres. I am going to put tyres on the screen. So we've got the Toe and Ayrton DTS as well on hard tyres. We've got side-by-side action through the hairpin. Someone's gone off. That's Scott and Zuba, both of them off the track there. But it is Ayrton leading from Speed Alcoholic. Deneuve trying to stick with them on those hards, but he's going to really struggle in these early part of the race especially. And if he can't keep with them, and he's gone very wide, Aqua Minerale and Nath Clark's AI being swarmed here by everyone else. The Toe into P8, Myra P5, Rick and Womack side by side it seems. Yeah, everyone's side by side up towards the chicane. 3 wide, and there's contact further back between Rick and Trugster. Sorry, between Tebow. More contact as Ayrton DTS off the road as well. It's another poor start for him. Vans P12 now through all the carnage. And Avi right in the back of Deneuve. Those hard tyres really struggling for the Alpine. I'm going to switch to position change. Yeah, Deneuve down 2, but Avi unable to gain any time. Apologies for that burp. But Avi just got to stick with this Alpine now. He showed good pace in quali, but of course Deneuve showed incredible pace in quali, so we'll have to see. A great start for Robinet as well, up to P6 already. Fantastic for him. Trugster up to P7, up 7 spots to P13. He is in the race. I'm not sure why he's in a McLaren, but okay. We do have 20 drivers on the grid, so I think he's joined between qualifying and now. So he is in the race, but he's made a fantastic start. Rumack, Surtak and Scott all in the pits, presumably for a new front wing. As Ayrton now opening up a more than 1 second gap to Speed. Trugster's not in the race, so I've no idea what's happening there. A Speed, a big slide out of the chicane. As Deneuve trying to stick with him still on those hard tyres. I think, I just don't know why. I just don't know why he's gone on the hards again. This did not work for him last week. I don't know why he's done it again. It could lose him the race once again, a race where he has overwhelming qualifying pace, and if he had the same race pace, then he would have probably run away with this race. But as it stands, Ayrton is gaining time all the time. Speed Alcoholic unable to stick with the reigning champion, and Deneuve really struggling here. And again, Ayrton in the lead. And you just, when he's in the lead, you just can't see him losing. You just cannot see him losing a race when he's in the lead. Because when he's challenged, when he's fighting, he does make mistakes, but when he's in the lead, he is gone, almost certainly. Spectating, it put me in the grid for the race, then I left. Okay, I have no idea what's going on there then, Trugster. But that is, who's that's gone wide? I think that was Amir wide there at Aqua Minerale. No overtakes happening at the moment, but everyone fairly close together from P3 downwards. And in fact, Deneuve is starting to catch back up to Speed Alcoholic, so maybe those hard tyres aren't as bad after all. Maybe I'm going to eat my words here. because he is nearly within a second of that AlphaTauri. Not quite enough for DRS. Very, very close though. Speed must have just used enough of his battery to keep the Alpine out of DRS range, but I don't think it's going to last for long. Here comes Avi though. Couldn't find a way through. Donev in the middle of the track defending his position, and the Israeli driver having to back out of that one as Lostock gets past the AI of Nath Clark. And Amir trying to stick with this group as well. He's struggling at the moment on those hard tyres. Sorry, medium tyres. He is on medium, so it did look like a white strip on those tyres from that angle, but no, he is on the mediums. Donev still just sort of on the cusp of that 1 second range of Speed Alcoholic as he tries his best to shake off this Mercedes of Avi. If he latches onto the DRS, he should be fine, but at the moment he's just about struggling, and that could be it though. 8/10. He's got enough DRS in the tank to keep it going, and yet he is now 8/10 behind Speed, and he will get DRS. There is the detection point. So the Alpine should be safe now, and on those hard tyres he should be able to catch back up fairly quickly. So I think I might be eating my words here, because he is looking very quick now. Now he's got those tyres warmed up. It was a terrible start for him, but is definitely now back in the conversation for the race victory. Just want to see if there's any action. Lostock, I think that was Vans getting overtaken by the Aston Martin, so Vans down to P11, but still a fantastic start for the Haas driver, and this is just what he needs. He needs a really good result today to send him well clear of the relegation zone in the championship standings, and that is exactly what he's doing at the moment. As Amir goes wide once again. Sorry, that was Avi going wide. So both Mercedes really enjoying their creative interpretations of track limits, but probably lifted off enough to not get a warning for it. Avi still sticking with Donev, and in fact Donev's lost a lot of time this lap to Speed. Where was that time lost? Speed set a purple sector 2, so that is where it was lost. Donev just unable to stay with the AlphaTauri, who had a lot of pace in that second sector, and now is vulnerable to Avi once again. Look at this closing speed as they come through up towards turn 1. Look at this, the massive closing speed of the Mercedes, but it's just not quite enough to make a move into turn 1, and in fact Donev using a lot of ERS there, it must have done, to gain that much on the straight towards Speed. Unless Speed made a mistake, maybe there's a mistake from Speed, because Ayrton is now 2.4 seconds clear, so maybe a mistake at the final corner for Speed that cost him all the way down the straight, and Donev back in range again. Got sideways out the chicane, that makes sense. First up. Amir right behind Robinet. Go through Aquan Minerale. Robinet not quite on the pace of the top 5 today, it seems. He's a serial podium scorer this season, is the Frenchman, but today it's looking like he'll be fighting for P6 with the former ESRL champion Amir. Come through the final few corners, Amir right behind. Ayrton sets the fastest lap, so he is flying on those medium tyres. Donev is out of ERS. You can see the flashing red light on the back of that Alpine, so Avi will know that he's got an opportunity coming up soon if there's a mistake from the Alpine. Amir back up towards Robinet, and he's made the overtake into turn 1. Brilliant move from the Mercedes, but he's having to give the place back. Maybe he made the move off track and the game has given him an illegal overtake, so he is back to P7. Robinet a bit wide there out of Tamburello. Is that Tamburello? No, Tamburello's turns 1 and 2, right? But Robinet a bit squirrely there. No, is that Villeneuve? That's Villeneuve, I think that is. I'm not quite up to speed on the corner names, I'm afraid. I never have been. I'm not very good at remembering corner names. But all that matters to me is turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. Don't need names. It's all these silly names as Myra goes for a bit of a squirrely moment. The exit the chicane and loses a lot of time to the top 4 and is now out of that DRS train. So he's going to have to work quite hard to get back in range. Is Avi close enough to maybe make a move? No, nowhere near close enough. Even with that flashing red light, as Amir now within 3/10 of Robinet with the DRS. Here comes the Mercedes round the outside of the AlphaTauri, and that move is made well before turn 1. Closing speed too much for the French driver, and Amir into P6. Nathan Clark's AI, I can't focus too much on that, as well as Trugster's AI as well. I've got to remember not to ride on board with them. I'm just going to take a quick drink. Imola tends to be a tough track for action. If the pace is really close, it's really tough to overtake. But there goes Speed with a mistake just as I say that, and now Deneuve is going to have a huge opportunity into turn 1 if he can keep it clean in this final sector. Through the chicane he goes, very clean there, and Speed with a 3-second time penalty. Mistakes lead into more mistakes for the South African, and he is going to be extremely vulnerable. And in fact, Avi might have him as well, I think, because Avi's very, very close, and Speed could be dropping to P4 on this straight leading up to turn 1. Keep an eye on this. Here comes Deneuve in the Alpine with the flashing red light, so he may not have as much overspeed as you expect. And no, he doesn't, in fact. Doesn't have enough to overtake Speed. So the AlphaTauri driver survives, but a 3-second penalty is going to hurt him as the race goes on. At 9 of 32, still a long way to go. Still no one out of the race, actually. Everyone's still staying with each other and not making any major errors that have sent them into walls, other than lap 1, of course, as Lostock is overtaken by Rick. Must have been a mistake from the Aston Martin there. So the Dutchman into P10. Up 4 places since the start, and Avi is right on the back of that Alpine. He's going to be looking for an opportunity here because he's going to know that flashing red light will be back on the back of the Alpine, but he's still going to struggle to make the move since Deneuve still has the DRS from Speed. I am going to switch to tyres on the leaderboard on the left. He does have closing speed, but it's not going to be enough as they come into turn 1. But he knows as long as he stays with them, he should be fine. And now Ayrton, look at that lead. 6.2 seconds. 6.3. It's just going up. And Deneuve, yet again, as he nearly goes for a move on Speed. Must have been another mistake from the South African. And Deneuve is just stuck behind the AlphaTauri at the moment. There's nothing he can do. And I just fear that, again, he has wasted this opportunity to win the race with a poor decision of tyres. It didn't work from last week. I don't know why he thinks it was going to work from this week. 6.5 seconds. It's just growing by the second here. That gap to Ayrton, and Deneuve is going to need absolutely ridiculous pace on the medium tyres. And we know he does have ridiculous pace, but enough to catch 6.6 seconds in the second stint, and that is just going to go up and up and up more and more. I can't see it at this point in the race. I hope I eat my words and I hope he makes it exciting, but at this point I just cannot see it. I think he's too far behind. He's wasted all of his ERS, and now he's going to be vulnerable to Avi, who is catching him on the straight quite significantly. Is he going to make a move into turn 1? No, not quite. So not quite enough overspeed for the Mercedes, and yeah, Avi not quite with the materials in hand to make that move, shall we say. Womack's on the back of Nath Clark, who is an AI. So this is actually the only battle on track at the moment. Lostock and Rick close together as there's a mistake from Deneuve on the hairpin. And this could open the door for Avi. They're going to go side by side into this left-hander. But Deneuve has the inside line and he keeps the place just about. But he's lost a bunch of time to speed. And it's just that gap to Ayrton is growing more and more and more. It's now 8 seconds, over 8.5 seconds between him and the Ferrari. And Avi is going to have a real opportunity to get himself into the podium positions here on the run to turn 1. Mir with the 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, so he is definitely struggling with this track. And yeah, I'm trying not to mention the ERS Trugster because I don't want to give anything away if anyone's watching the stream. Had that conversation with Scott a couple of weeks ago. But Avi, or any of the drivers are listening in, I should say. But here comes the Mercedes down the inside. He's squeezed by Deneuve, and in fact, Avi squeezed just enough to be unable to make that move. Has to go across the curb, and I'm sure he would have gotten a warning for that. So he might not be happy about that squeeze, but from my view, it looked pretty fair from Deneuve. Are they losing time to Myra? Let's look at the lap times on my telemetry. No, Myra's last lap of 20.5. Avi and Deneuve's last lap's 20.2, 20.4. So they're not quite losing enough to fall back to the Alfa Romeo. But they are losing more and more time to Ayrton. Who's that? That's Robin-A, who's gone for a spin at Aqua Minerale. Does he have damage on that AlphaTauri? I don't know. No, it doesn't look like it. So he is now down to P8, but it's a bad spin for the Frenchman. And really, it's the first major mistake I've seen from him all season, I think. I don't think I've seen him spin at all this season so far. So yeah, Robin-A until race 9 to make a significant mistake, if I am right about that. But it was bound to come. It happens to us all, and he is down to P8, and with no damage. He hasn't lost too much. Deneuve back in the DRS of speed in this battle for P2, and it is well and truly a battle for P2. Ayrton is just gone. There is no way they're going to catch him. I just can't see it. Even with absurd pace that Deneuve is no doubt going to have on the mediums, I really don't think he is capable of catching 10 seconds. It will be at least 10 seconds when they come into the pits. I'm sure it will. So it's just, again, I just feel like he's wasted this race. I know we're not even halfway through, but it just feels to me like it is already race over, and Deneuve is solely to blame for making what appears to be the same mistake that he made last week by starting on the hards. He is right behind speed though now, and is going to have the DRS. I think the move is going to be made here unless there's a lot of ERS in reserve for that AlphaTauri, because we know Deneuve is running on empty, and in fact, yeah, he just doesn't have the closing speed. He really just doesn't have the closing speed. As Amir is the first to come in on the mediums, so he will go into hards to the end of this race. Still, everyone in this race, very, very impressive stuff, ESRL. I did expect a DNF by now, I'm not going to lie. So this is great stuff from Elite Settings Racing League. Long may it continue. Hopefully everyone finishes the race. Wouldn't that be great? Amir comes out the pits. I think he's going to emerge in clear speed with a huge error there through that left-hander. He is down to P4, and he has indeed spun. He just about lost it. I thought he had saved it for just a second, but he did spin in the end, and he is down to P5, and the tow is right behind him as well. It's all gone Pete Tong for the South African, and his battle for P2, I think, is going to be over now, unless there's a safety car later in this race. But the way everyone is driving at the moment, it doesn't look like there will be, to be honest. As Avi also peels into the pits. He is fed up of those medium tyres. He comes in, as does Myra just behind. Is Speed going to come in as well? No, Speed stays out in characteristic fashion. I know he's a bit of a tyre whisperer. Ayrton also stays out on those mediums, but again, he doesn't really need to do any sort of undercuts, does he? He is perfectly safe. 10 seconds between him and Deneuve. As I will keep an eye on the lap times to see if Deneuve does a bit better in clear air. Rick up to P6 after the pit stops as he clears the lapped car of Ayrton DTS. There's Robinet also into the pits, as is Vans further back. Robinet is going to come out again in clear air here, just ahead of Zuber. And in fact, Zuber into the pits. So yeah, that is Robinet in a lot of clear air, a long way between him and any other driver. And he has a lot of time to make up. Bateau still sitting in the DRS range of Speed. He's doing really well on those hard tyres. I wonder if we'll see Speed come in this lap. Ayrton stayed out again. What about the South African? Deneuve, right, let's look at the lap times. Deneuve coming across the line, 19.8. Ayrton's last lap was a 19.6, so still losing time, but not very much. As Speed does indeed peel into the pits, he's going to go onto the hard tyres. I don't think there was contact, Trugster. It didn't look like there was contact. I don't think Deneuve was close enough. I'm pretty sure Speed just lost it on his own there. But he has looked squirrely at points in this race, so it didn't completely surprise me. As much as I hate to say that, I'm teammates with Speed in another league. He is absolutely class, but yeah, unfortunate for him, as he is passed by Myra again. Myra up to P7, and in fact, he's passed by Amir as well. Comes out just behind the Mercedes, who has already pitted. So this is a legitimate race between the two, and Speed well and truly undercut by the Mercedes. And he is down to P9, which is a net It could be P7. Ayrton comes straight into the pits now, though, and Deneuve is going to retake the lead of this race after having it for about half a second at the start, and then Ayrton took it and hasn't looked back since. So Deneuve does take the lead. Ayrton just about to come out the pits now. He is on the hard tyres, and he will be going to the end on those. Up towards the end, it's a very long pit lane, and it is now an Alpine 1-2 as the Toe also stays out in his hard tyres that he started on, and takes second place in this race. Ayrton P3. Comfortably ahead of his teammate, which I'm sure he'll be happy about. We've got Speed Alcoholic now in the DRS of Amir. There is definitely a speed difference between these two. No pun intended. As the South African now looking to rebuild from his spin. Avi also right behind Rick, who is yet to pit, so I think Avi will be looking to make this move as soon as possible, but going wide like that is not going to help his cause. As he is surely, I'm sure I've seen him go wide and possibly get a warning earlier on as well, so he must not be too far away from a 3-second penalty, as Rick goes very deep after the chicane. Speed Alcoholic right behind Amir as well. Got to keep an eye on that gap. Yeah, they're right behind each other. I think there's going to be 2 overtakes. One from Avi and one from Speed on the run to turn 1. Is Rick going to peel into the pits? No, he stays out another lap. And now here comes Avi with the DRS. Maybe Rick's waiting for a safety car, as no, a lapped car getting in the way a bit there. 2 lapped cars, in fact. But Avi and Rick side by side. Rick not giving up the position as easily as I thought he would. And Rick stays in P5 for now. Avi unable to make the overtake. Speed made the overtake before turn 1 though, so he is now up to P8. We've got a spun McLaren. That must be Scott, because AIs don't spin in multiplayer. So he is just not having a good day in that McLaren, unfortunately, and he's going to have to wait there as everyone goes through. Hopefully he doesn't get disqualified. As Rick with a bit of a mistake there, and that's going to cost Avi even more time, and Avi is going to be furious to be stuck behind this Alfa Romeo for so long. He must have lost so much time already, and he's just unable to make any sort of move as they break for the chicane. Avi breaks early to not go into the back of him as Rick very, very squirrely on the exit. Deneuve is into the pit, so you've got to keep an eye on that as well, but Avi is losing a huge amount of time behind this Dutchman. It must be at least 2 seconds now he's lost already as they come through the final few corners. He's got to make the move now, because otherwise he is going to be in trouble from Myra behind, because 1.2 seconds is the gap. Avi pulls to the inside this time, but Rick again not giving way. He must have a lot of ERS in that Alfa Romeo, but Avi beats him on the brakes and into P5, and Deneuve comes out about 13 seconds behind Ayrton, so we'll see. Keep an eye on that gap, see if he can close it down, but that is a long, long way to close down the reigning champion of ESRL. As Rick goes deep in the hairpin, Avi finally gets past, but look how much time he's lost, and he makes a mistake, and that's going to allow Rick to make another attempt round the outside. He goes, but has to back out, and Avi keeps the position, but for how long? Because Rick now is going to see that flashing red light on the back of the Mercedes, and he's going to know that Avi's vulnerable. So Rick trying to help out his teammate here, and he's done a really good job, because Myra is in this DRS train now, and Rick is surely going to maybe let his teammate through. Yeah, team orders at Alfa Romeo. He's done a fantastic job for Myra, but 1.1 seconds is the gap now. Can Myra get in DRS range? Not quite. It's so close, and I think that will be job done, because Avi is going to be significantly more pacey than the Alfa Romeo, although is Myra close enough to see the flashing red light? Maybe. I think probably they will have seen it by now. So Myra does spy an opportunity, but we have seen that Avi has the far superior pace to the Alfa Romeo in terms of raw pace on this track. But with the ERS disadvantage, he could still be vulnerable to that Alfa Romeo. So that's something to keep an eye on. Ayrton now is going to be losing time to the Alpine. The Toe trying to do a job for his teammate as well on the hard tyres, trying to keep the reigning champion behind, and he is doing fantastically. This is some brilliant team play we've seen today at Imola. The Alpines and the Alfa Romeos working really well together to help out their teammates. And Ayrton losing more time behind this Alpine is surely going to make the move on the run to turn 1, but I wonder how much this has cost him. As they come onto the line, the Toe into the pits, and Ayrton 1.8 seconds off his best lap, so it really did cost him. I'm sure, yeah, 1.2 seconds slower in sector 3 alone, so Ayrton really losing a lot of time, and the Toe doing a lot for his teammate Deneuve. The gap is now leader 12.3. That is how much Deneuve has to catch. That is quite the ask. As the Toe comes out on the medium tyres, he's going to be just ahead of Amir. It's going to be really close. I think Amir's going to have the overspeed. Here they go. Yeah, the Mercedes into P8, and the Toe is going to have to get those tyres to warm up and go back on the attack after the Mercedes. But of course, that time penalty for the Mercedes will cost him if the Toe can stay with him. And thus ends the significant battles on track, although speed is catching up to Rick now, well within DRS range. Rick's still yet to pit. He and Aces, the only two drivers not pitting yet. And Deneuve with a 3-second time penalty. That is surely game over. Even if he does catch Ayrton, I can't see him pulling 3 seconds on him before the end. As speed, huge pace difference between him and Rick through the chicane. But he's going to wait for the DRS. And in fact goes a bit over the grass there, does the South African, to try and avoid going into the back of that Alfa Romeo, as Rick finally coming into the pits, but Aces stays out, and I think again this is more team play. Is Aces now going to try and hold up Deneuve for as long as he can? I think that is the plan here, as we've got another spinner. I think that was a Red Bull of Tivo or Zuba there at the hairpin going for a spin. The toe now within DRS range of Amir. So that battle is on for P7. Deneuve just over 11 seconds, so he has caught a lot of time, about 7/10 on the last lap, but now he's going to be put under as much pressure as possible from Aces. Aces going to try his best to help out his teammate. That's 3 teams going for alternate strategies to help out their respective teammates. I absolutely love to see that. That's fantastic. Alpine, Ferrari and Alfa Romeo all doing the team play, and I really love to see that. I think Deneuve's going to get him. He's not going to lose too much time here. DRS open now. Aces is going to fight him all the way to turn 1 if he can. The Ferrari does have some ERS in the tank clearly, but not enough. Deneuve just with too much pace, and he into P2 at turn 1, and that gap 10.7 seconds with about 10 laps to go. That is quite the ask, especially with a 3-second time penalty. I really don't think it's possible, but you never know. Anything can happen in racing, especially at a track like Imola. We've got yellow flags. Is that Amir? It is! Amir into the wall in Sector 1, and he's going to just about avoid the wall on re-entering the track there to avoid getting disqualified, and he's got to make sure he doesn't get in the way of all those cars just behind him as well. He's going to make sure he doesn't spin again. There's no visible damage to that Mercedes, actually. Shockingly, I cannot believe that. But he does seem to be okay, so he's gotten away with that. And Rick 2.2 seconds behind him. He could be under pressure though for P9 here, could Amir. And in fact, with that time penalty, he is definitely going to be under pressure, as Deneuve sets the fastest lap of a 17.8. But that gap to Ayrton is growing, so he must have made a mistake there, as Avi getting past Aces, who is finally into the pits for a set of the soft tyres. He's going hard soft, so this is quite the gamble from Aces. Can he make it work? Here comes Robinet down the straight. I think Robinet is going to jump him, so Aces right on board with Robinet. There's the Ferrari, so Robinet up to P7, but he's going to be under a lot of pressure from Aces on those soft tyres in the latter stage of this race. Myra still trying so hard to get within that 1 second range of Avi and have a chance for a podium today, but Avi at the moment unmoved, that gap staying at about just over the 1 second margin. Mercedes driver doing just enough at the moment, but as soon as Myra's in that DRS, I think it's going to be hard for him to keep getting that gap back up to that out of that 1 second range. Speed with another 3 second time penalty. I think that's his second one. Yeah, 6 seconds on that AlphaTauri now. 5.7 is the gap to the toe. I think he should still be fine for the top 5, but not ideal at all for the South African, who's had not the most ideal race, I think it's fair to say. Well in contention for a podium today, and it just hasn't gone to plan. And now Deneuve is losing time by the second again to Ayrton. What's happened? What has happened to Deneuve? Where's all his pace gone? There's no damage to that Alpine, so I don't know what has happened to Deneuve. Maybe he's just given up and he's just looking to secure P2 today. With the fastest lappers, Rick and Amir swap places. Rick into P9. Making that move is the Dutchman, and he will be very happy with that. Where did he start? That is the wrong one. It's this one. There we go. He started P14, so very solid outing today for the Dutchman if he can hold on to P9. What are those penalties? Both on 3 seconds. So this is a proper fight as Rick goes deep again. In towards Acqua Minerale. Can he make the corner? Yes, he can this time. So, but Amir still within 8 or 9 tenths. He's going to have another opportunity. Is now aces on the back of Romine. Those soft tyres really working well for the Ferrari, and his objective now will be to take the fastest lap away from Deneuve, I think, in order to get Ferrari another point on the board. Aces straight past Robine, no defence offered from the AlphaTauri. Easy as you like, and Aces up to P7, and he will be going for fastest lap this lap, I would have thought. He had the DRS, he's made the move, and I will keep an eye on his sector times. It's coming through sector 1. Speed with another time penalty, and that could drop him down to P6 now, because the tow is only 6 seconds behind. Ace is not purple through sector 1, so we'll still keep an eye on him. Is he going to be anywhere near that fastest lap? Sector 2 through Acqua Minerale, up to the sector line now. Is he going to be 5 tenths faster overall, but again not purple through sector 2, so I don't think he's going to pose a threat to that fastest lap from Deneuve. As Speed getting past Myra further back, as Speed looking to salvage this race back, but again those 9 seconds of time penalties are really going to cost him here. He's certainly not going to have a chance at the podium, but it's whether he can keep that top 5 position, because the tow is still within range to take that top 5 place, which I believe would be his best result of the season. I'm sure he'll correct me if it's not, but that would be a fantastic result for the Alpine driver and for Alpine in general. They're sitting P2 and P6 at the moment, which is by proxy P5. Amir into the pits again for a set of softs. He wants the fastest lap. So maybe there was damage to that Mercedes after all. I can say SW and Vans both with side pod damage. I'm not sure how they've managed that. Maybe into the wall, maybe a crash with another car. But Vans, Surtac getting past Amir. That's Surtac's A. Is that Surtac's AI? I don't think so. No, he did start this race. He hasn't been able to make much progress. I haven't even looked at him, to be honest. I thought he'd be making progress a lot faster, but he just hasn't been on the pace. Maybe he was caught up in the incidents. No, that's right, he was caught up in the incidents. I'm sure he was on lap 1, and ever since then it's been a recovery drive, and to be honest he's done pretty well as Myra and Speed swap places again as Speed goes deep. That is why in sector 1, and that is his chances of the top 5 well and truly gone, as the tow swoops round his outside into P5 outright, not just on penalties now. Speed moves to the outside but unable to make the move surely through the hairpin. Yeah, no, the tow has the better drive, and Speed now has to worry about aces. He could lose the position to the Ferrari as well, as and that would be even worse for AlphaTauri in their hunt for the constructors this season. Ferrari still have the lead, and at the moment they're going to extend their lead by quite some margin, with Ayrton winning this race yet again. Is that rain? Is that a raindrop? No. That must have been my mind playing tricks on me. I could have sworn I saw a raindrop. I'm not seeing any more, so maybe I was just imagining it. It did look very suspiciously like a raindrop, but Speed will have the DRS from the tow. But I've got to keep an eye on that gap to Aces. He's got to be 9 seconds ahead to keep P6. At the moment, it's coming down, as Aces still utilising those soft tyres to as much effect as he can. It will be, I reckon, about a quarter worn by this point, but it will still be good enough for him to be pretty fast on them. Amir now gets a 3-second time penalty. That doesn't really matter in the context of his race though. As Sertak come to be P12. Who's that? That is Thibaut that's gone for a spin and loses the place to his teammate, which is actually quite significant. We look at penalties. Zuba with 5, Thibaut now with 9 seconds. So Zuba into P14. And in terms of relegation, that's quite significant. If we look at the standings, Zuba's only 5 points behind Vans at this point, only 3 points behind Ayrton DTS. And also Sertak is a long way back, although he did start... Yeah, I don't think Sertak is being considered for relegation because he only started in Division 1 last week. Yeah, Zuba in trouble. It could be doing well here. He's going to gain 2 points on Vans. He's going to gain 6 points on Ayrton DTS, who is really now in danger of relegation from Division 1, which I wouldn't have expected, to be honest. But that is the situation he finds himself in, and in the next 3 weeks he is going to have to really step up his game in order to avoid the drop. Amir within half a second of Sertak still on those fresher soft tyres, but with those penalties it's in the end not going to matter. Same with speed on the back of the toe as we enter lap 30 of 32. And Deneuve, yeah, that gap is not coming down. So again, I have to say, I think Deneuve has just simply not learned from last week. Last week he had fantastic pace. He definitely looked like he could have taken the win, but starting on the hards and going to the mediums, he just sacrificed so much pace in the first stint because he's got stuck behind drivers. And I thought today, right, he won't make that mistake again. He's going to start on the mediums. But he's done it again. Started on the hards. I don't know why he has so much faith in that strategy, because it just isn't working for him at the moment. And in fact, it doesn't really work for anyone. It's only some tracks where it's better. And this is not one of them. So, a bit of a waste for Deneuve. He will still finish P2, and it will still be a good result for him, but I'm sure he is capable of getting that win away from NER Ayrton, as now Trugster has gone way behind Ayrton DTS, so that's an extra point for the Haas driver. But as it stands, he is going to lose 5 points to Zuba, and he is going to be in the relegation zone, but he is going to look to get past Nath Clark's AI. So into P18 he goes, and of course Nath Clark isn't going to be scored because it's his AI. And it's Trugster's AI as well, isn't it? I don't know why I can't remember that. But Amir and Sertak now swapping positions. Mercedes up to P12 fairly comfortably. But it is the final lap of the race, and I'm going to ride on board with NER Ayrton. As who's that's gone for a spin? I think that might be Sertak. Is that Sertak? It is Sertak. He's gone for a spin, and is he going to lose out to Zuba? The Red Bull is coming, but I don't think it's coming quick enough. Where is Zuba on track? There's the Red Bull. So Sertak could be vulnerable, and is vulnerable. Zuba gets up into P13, but with those penalties he will drop anyway. But I am now going to ride on board with Ayrton as he comes into the final sector. Yet again, just in well and truly a league of his own. I mean, again, Deneuve has thrown away the race by starting on the hards, or any chance at the race, but Ayrton, once he gets in the lead, no one catches him. Never. Ever, ever, ever. You just don't see it. Across the line he comes. NER Ayrton wins the Imola Grand Prix. Goes slowly across the line just to rub it in. And a dominant performance once again, and he will take a very, very commanding lead in this Drivers' Championship, and I cannot see him losing out on the title to Nath Clark now. Deneuve crosses the line, just about, in P2, and Avi is going to hold off Myra. Myra did get in the DRS in the end, but it wasn't quite enough to make the move. Avi takes a podium today. He finishes P3. Fantastic result for him. Myra P4. Brilliant team play from Rick to bring Myra into the fight, but couldn't quite take advantage. The Toe finishes P5. What a fantastic result for him. Speed P6, disappointing on the day. As Aces jumps him as well. He must have gotten another penalty. So Aces into P6, Speed down to P7. Robin A jumps Rick on penalties into P8. And Rick finishes P9. Womax will come across the line in P10. The two Aston Martins together, they will be the last ones to cross the line. Everyone else lapped in the end by the dominant NER Ayrton. I'll take that. Yeah, I do not blame you, Rick. That is a good result for you. P9. Womax and Lostock both cross the line together. Isn't that nice? And Womax P10. That will gain him quite a few points, so I think he will be out of the relegation zone as well. It will be close down there at the bottom. I can't quite work it out in my head at the moment. But he could well jump Ayrton, DTS and Vans in one race, and that would leave both Hasses in the relegation zone, because Zuber has jumped both of them for sure. Or has he jumped Vans, actually? I don't think he jumped Vans, but it was close. So, yeah, very, very close battle at the bottom of the table for relegation zone. At the top of the table. This man, I just cannot see him losing from here. 23-point margin. With 3 races to go. All it takes is one DNF, of course, but Nath Clark. He won the first 3 races of the season, and he was looking so good. He really was. But he just, this second half of the season, has been nothing short of awful for Nath Clark. And he will lose the championship lead today. Ayrton takes the race win. Donev P2 with the fastest lap, gets that extra point. Avi in P3 and Myra P4. Great race for both of them. The Toe in P5, Aces P6, Speed all the way down in P7, Robin A P8, and then Rick and Womax make up the top 10. Lostock and Amir 11 and 12, and then Zuber a decent P13 for him. Surtak P14 in the end after the spin. Tebow 15, Vans, Scott, Ayrton, DTS, Nath Clark and Trugster make out the rest of the grid. Nath Clark and Trugster AIs, of course. But that is a race at Imola with elite assist settings that everyone has finished. Bravo! Well done, ESRL. That is absolutely fantastic. Well done to all the Division 1 drivers today. That is a monumental result for everyone to finish a race at Imola with elite assists. In an well, what it was, a 17-car grid. Or an 18-car grid. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well done, guys. Well done. But that is it for today. Ayrton extends his championship lead. My driver of the day, I'm going to go with Avi, I think, for securing that podium. He drove a really, really good race today, so well done to Avi for finishing P3. And he extends his lead over the AlphaTauris for that 3rd place in the championship. So, well done to Avi. Great result there. Thank you everyone for watching. I don't think I have any more to say. Constructors, Ferrari will extend their lead by quite some margin over AlphaTauri today. And with three races to go, they are looking nigh on unbeatable, as is reigning champion Ayrton. So there we go, that will be that for today. Thank you for watching my commentary today of ESRL. We'll be back next week for more racing at Monza. So I look forward to that. I hope you do too, and I hope I'll see you again next week. Goodbye everyone.